Well, the Nelson Mandela Foundation has brought an urgent contempt of court application against AfriForum and Roets. The application comes after a Twitter account that allegedly belongs to Roets posted the old South African national flag. This happened after a high court had found that the gratuitous display of the flag amounted to a hate speech offence. The foundation has given AfriForum until Tuesday to respond to the application. In a tweet, Roets claimed he was posing an academic question as the court made an exception for the use of the flag to be used academically. The foundation asked the court to order both AfriForum and Roets to show reason why they should not get a fine or suspended sentence. In a statement released by AfriForum CEO Kali Kriel stated that the Nelson Mandela Foundation is on a witch hunt for Roets, which seeks to act against the interest of freedom. All right, let's get more on the story now. AfriForum's head of policy and action, Mr. Roets, is on the line via Skype. Mr. Roets, thank you very much indeed for your time. Look, the Equality Court has just declared the gratuitous display of the apartheid flag as hate speech, unfair discrimination and harassment. So why would you post it on social media, sir?
Well, the reason why I posted, thank you. Firstly, the reason why I posted it on social media is the reason I stated. We need clarity with regard to what the extent of that court judgment is. There's still a lot of uncertainty because the way at least the judge explains it and the way the Nelson Mandela Foundation has been explaining it differs. So we don't know the true extent of the judgment, and that was an academic inquiry with regard to the definition of hate speech and the application of a court judgment.
But sir, on what grounds is this a genuine academic question and not a gratuitous dissemination of the old flag? Because some will argue that you have done so in a gratuitous fashion. Make the argument.
Well, the argument is simple. We need to understand what the court judgment means. Whenever there's a court judgment about whatever issue, but particularly when it's about more controversial issues or issues that are slightly political, there's a lot of discussion afterwards with regard to what does it mean, what is the extent of the judgment, in which cases does it apply and whatnot. The judge has particularly said that it's artistic, journalistic and academic use is permissible. I tweeted a picture of the flag and I asked a question with regard to the definition of hate speech. That's an academic inquiry.
But sir, why don't you appeal the judgment and handle this in court rather than in the public domain?
Well, it's important to have this discussion in the public domain. I mean, as me and you are talking now, you are displaying images of the flag, and I don't think that's a violation of the judgment.
For journalistic purposes.
Yeah, exactly. But when I use it for academic purposes, then suddenly it's a problem.
Look, reportedly, the court said that those who display the flag aimed to insult. Did you aim to insult, sir?
No, I did not aim to insult. I aimed to get clarity.
What is even if it was posed as an academic question, do you think this further fuels or deepens the division in South Africa by posting that picture?
Me posting the picture is not what is deepening division in South Africa. The fact that the display of a flag is banned by law is deepening divisions. We actually wrote to the Nelson Mandela Foundation before the court case while we were still preparing for the case. And we said to them, we expect that whatever the outcome of this case would be, there's going to be division and friction among people to a greater extent than there was before the judgment. We believe this is something that could and should be resolved through dialogue, and that is why we invited them. We said, let's have a discussion, let's have dialogue, let's see if we can resolve the issue and find some way in which we, some way forward in which we, at least as the parties to this,
having said that, sitting across each other and conversing about this issue would be a good point to start off with. But posting it on social media, then having this conversation via the social media, don't you think it just goes against what people want to achieve here? Because you would agree that flag is such an insult to so many people living in South Africa.
Well, I think the fact that me and you are having this discussion in which I have to defend myself for tweeting an image is indicative of the fact that freedom of expression in South Africa is under very serious threat. We are activists for freedom of expression. For us, this is not about the flag. We've been on record that we don't use the flag, but we are activists for freedom of expression. And you cannot say that you have freedom of expression, but at the same time say if you want to post something online, but it's offensive to people, then it's hate speech.
But sir, freedom of expression, you would know, is limited, isn't it?
Well, that depends on where you draw the line. It should be limited with regard to incitement to violence, yes. It shouldn't be limited with regard to causing offense.
But when you hurt another person by expressing, your thoughts, that constitutes as, imposing on the next person's freedom and thereby limited in that regard.
Well, if I flipped you off now, if I showed you the middle finger, do you think I should be prosecuted for that?
Well, look, you're insulting me, all right? But this goes beyond the middle finger. This deals with some deep-seated hurt that people went through in this country. And you know that, sir. You've spoken about it. You know that what people went through in this country. So, equating the middle finger to the apartheid flag is totally disingenuous.
No, but what we can equate to that, according to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, about 600 people were killed by the security forces during apartheid, but also according to the Truth and Reconciliation, somewhere between 500 and 700 people were necklaced by the ANC and other liberation movements. So are we now going to say if your mother or father was necklaced by a member of the ANC and you want to have the ANC's flag banned, are we going to say to that person, your pain does not count as heavily as the pain of another person? Or are we going to be consistent and say we're going to ban all symbols that offend people or all symbols that have caused pain and suffering? Because that would include the ANC's flag, it would include the British flag, it would include the Communist Party's flag, and we can go down the list.
Are you not sympathetic to what people went through and what this flag does to them when they see it?
I'm very sympathetic to that.
So why post it? My question, it goes back to the initial question. Why do it on a social media platform when you know you're going to get this pushback?
I think there's something that people in this country don't seem to understand. And we have to explain it over and over and over again. And that is the fact that you shouldn't do something or the fact that something is a bad idea does not mean that you should be banned by law from doing it, or that you should be prosecuted if you do that. I mean, the Nelson Mandela Foundation has said in their papers that, among others, there's talk about imprisonment. So we're now reaching the point where we're talking about imprisoning people for tweeting stuff.
But sir,
this is not democracy.
If it's not, it doesn't matter if it's legal or not. Shouldn't we hold ourselves to a higher standard morally and ethically?
Yes, we should. We should, but we should also protest banning and censorship and a violation of freedom of speech.
Did you get permission from AfriForum for posting this? Did they sanction this?
No. If the question is, did I discuss the tweet internally with AfriForum? We don't do that. We don't discuss stuff. We put a post on social media beforehand.
So AfriForum has released this statement saying this is a witch hunt on you. You agree?
I do agree because look at we can draw up a list of things that are wrong with this country, and we can draw up a list of things that are very urgent and require immediate attention. We can talk about the education crisis. We can talk about a whole list of stuff about crime and corruption and all these things. But for some reason, tweeting a picture about a flag is now one of the most important things that we need to be discussing. Yes, we need to be mindful and we need to be respectful of people's opinions and so forth. But when we start regulating how people express themselves, then we need to concede that this is not a democracy. This is not a country in which freedom of expression is respected. It's never necessary to fight for freedom of expression when you agree with what government is doing. It's necessary to fight for freedom of expression when people say things that are controversial or when people say things that cause offense. I've never displayed that flag before. After the judgment, I posted the flag and I asked an academic inquiry. I made an academic inquiry with regard to the tweet, and now suddenly there's talk about imprisoning me. I mean, how crazy is that?
Do you have the full support of AfriForum for posting this tweet?
Yes, I do.
So you agree? You're saying that AfriForum sanctioned this and they have no problem in you tweeting that?
Well, as I said to you, AfriForum didn't sanction it beforehand because I've never sent something in for approval before tweeting it. But we are currently discussing the matter with our legal team, and we will respond publicly in terms of what the way forward is on our side, probably within a matter of days.
Reportedly, you need to respond by Tuesday. You ready for that? You got all your ducks in a row, so to speak?
Yes, we actually just had the Nelson Mandela Foundation argues that this is an urgent case. We can't understand, and I can't see why this is urgent. But yes, they want us to respond by Tuesday. We had a teleconference this morning, so we will be ready to respond by Tuesday. In the interim, until that is heard, are you going to continue posting these pictures on social media and posing the so-called, as you say, academic questions? Probably not. I'm not planning on doing it, and I'm not banned from doing it or barred from doing it, at least not by AfriForum. So, I don't know. I'm not planning on tweeting anything. If there's another question that I want to ask, I might ask that. But I'm not. It's not like we've got something up our sleeves in terms of what we want to post on social media. Just before I let you go, Mr. Roets, you are AfriForum's head of policy and action, correct? That's correct. All right, I just want to clarify that. All right, thank you very much indeed for your time. AfriForum's Head of Policy and Action, Ernest Roets, they're speaking to us via Skype.